Hello everyone, welcome back to Biophilia, your all-time study mate. Today we are going to continue our chapter about chemical coordination and integration with its part 3 on thyroid and parathyroid gland. If you like this video and get some help to understand that concepts, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our amazing channel Biophilia. So in the previous part of this chapters we have already covered about two glands, जिसमें से first वाला था about hypothalamus, which was nothing but the master of the master gland, and none other than master gland was nothing but the pituitary gland. So hypothalamus and pituitary के बाद as you descend down we are going to study about the third gland of our endocrine system, which is going to be the thyroid gland. So thyroid gland is going to be a butterfly shaped or a H-shaped organ which is going to be largest of the endocrine systems. So endocrine system में जो सबसे largest gland होगा, it is nothing but the thyroid gland. So here you can also observe how the thyroid gland is going to be a H-shaped gland. So this is nothing but the thyroid, and the butterfly shape, butterfly के जैसे wings होते हैं, similarly it would be resembling nothing but the thyroid gland. So thyroid gland is going to have two lateral lobules, यानी साइड में उसके पास two lobules होंगे which are going to be connected to each other, and those connection to each other by a thin flap of connective tissue is called as isthmus. So बीच में जो H बनाने के लिए आप horizontal line बनाते हो, that horizontal line is called as isthmus, and the two lateral lines are nothing but going to be called as the lateral lobes of the thyroid gland. So in that way you can remember about the thin connective tissue flap and the lateral lobes. So lateral lobes जो होंगे वो lateral lobes, they are going to be on the sides of the trachea. So trachea will be going through the center, and from the center on the both sides the two lateral lobes will be present of the thyroid gland. अब thyroid gland बाहर से हमने पता कर लिया उसकी location कैसी है and how are the structures of it. Now once you go internal into the thyroid gland, you can observe that there are going to be follicles which will be held together by the areolar connective tissue and the stromal tissue. So सारे बहुत सारे follicles होंगे, और ये सारे follicles किससे इकट्ठा हुए होंगे? They will be all accumulated because of the areolar tissue and the stromal tissue, and that would be the internal composition of the thyroid gland. So very important point about again thyroid gland, that is it is the only endocrine gland which is going to store its secreted products, यानी वो खुद secrete भी करेगा और वो खुद store भी करेगा. In the previous videos we had seen about hypothalamus जो होता है, it is going to send the hormones to the pituitary gland, but वहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, वहाँ पे secretion हो रहा है, and they are again they are sent over, they are not stored in hypothalamus, whereas pituitary में store होता है in the neurohypophysis. वहाँ पे सिर्फ store होगा, वहाँ पे secretion नहीं होगा. So thyroid gland is going to be the only gland in the endocrine system which is going to store as well as secrete in large quantities, that is nothing but the thyroid hormone. So दो important चीज़ें हमें याद रखनी है about thyroid gland, that is it is going to be the largest of the endocrine glands, and it is the only endocrine gland which is storing and secreting its quantities in large. So the thyroid gland जो large quantities में secrete कर रहा है, it is nothing but the thyroid hormone. So thyroid hormone बनाने के लिए thyroid gland is going to require iodine. So once the iodine is sufficed from the diet, from with iodine under the influence of TSH. TSH क्या था? We had understood TSH from the pituitary gland, and TSH is going to be coming out from where? It is going to come from the pars distalis. So if you don't remember about this pars distalis, what is pars media, what is pars nervosa, all that can be covered in the part 2 of this chapter, which was about the pituitary gland, and the link will be provided down in the description box, so you can surely go and check that part as well. So TSH is nothing but thyroid stimulating hormone. So जैसे ही pituitary से ये release होगा, along with the use of iodine, the thyroid hormone is going to be secreted. Now as soon as the follicular cells which are going to be present in the follicles, they synthesize two hormones. So thyroid hormone में there are going to be two constituents. The first one which is going to be a tetra iodine thyrionine, which is going to be tetra, that is 4, so it is shortened as T4, or it is also called as thyroxine, and triiodothyroxine, which is going to be tri, that is 3, so it is called T3. So thyroid gland से दो hormones निकलेंगे and together they are called as thyroid hormones. So T3 and T4 are going to release from the thyroid hormone, whereas TSH is going to come from the pituitary gland. So once this is going to be coordinated, all the T3 and the T4 ions are going to be coming from the iodinated forms. Iodine जो हमने देखा था in the previous slide, wherein we told that the thyroid hormone is going to be secreted because of presence of iodine. So iodine or tyrosine जब मिक्स होंगे, they both are going to form nothing but the thyroid hormone. So अगर 3 iodines use होंगे, then it is a T3 hormone, whereas if 4 are used, then it is going to be a T4 hormone. So what is the difference between T3 and T4? So the most active of the T3 and T4 is going to be T3. The more potent, more you can say जो ज़्यादा काम करने लायक हो, that is going to be T3. The amount of T3 released is going to be small and amount of T4 is large. So very important thing to remember is the amount of T4 is large. So T4 से T3 का conversion होगा, right? There is going to be conversion of the, not conservation, it is going to be conversion of T4 into T3, and this conversion will be done in different places, but generally it is done in liver and kidney. So liver और kidney में T4 जो excess quantities में बनाया जाएगा, it will be converted into T3, and T3 will be the more active and the more potent source, and the iodine amount as per the name you can understand, T3 having 3 and T4 having 4 iodine content. The next thing we see about is the thyrocalcitonin. So जो follicular cells होते हैं, follicular cells are only going to secrete two hormones, which is T3 and T4. Now between the thyroid follicles there are going to be C cells. Now these C cells or parafollicular cells, these are going to release one more hormone, which is going to be called as calcitonin or TCT. So this C cells, यानी दो टाइप के cells हुए. So first of all you need to understand that there are going to be follicular cells. Follicular cells जो होंगे वो क्या release करेंगे, वो T3 और T4 release करेंगे, whereas the C cells are going to release the TCT hormone, which is calcitonin hormone, or also called as parafollicular hormone. So this thyrocalcitonin is nothing but going to be involved in calcium homeostasis, यानी कैल्शियम के अमाउंट्स को रेगुलेट करना. सो इफ द कैल्शियम लेवल्स goes up or goes down, they need to be regulated so that they can remain in the constant level that is required by the body. So that is going to be maintained by the two hormones, that is one parath hormone, which is releasing from the parathyroid gland, which is we are going to see the next, and the calcitonin, which we are seeing here, which is coming from the C cells of the thyroid gland. So thyroid gland और parathyroid gland के जो दो hormones है, that is parath hormone and calcitonin, they will be used for the maintenance of calcium ions, and this will be the hormone, that is the calcitonin, which is going to be hypocalcemic and hypophosphoric, यानी वो calcium levels कम करेगा, and even phosphorus levels will be reduced by the calcitonin hormone. The next we see the functions of thyroid hormones. So there are 7 functions which are going to be important because of the thyroid hormones that occurs into our body. So first of all, thyroid hormones जैसे ही release होंगे, there is going to be metabolism of proteins, of fats, carbohydrates, and because of this metabolism there is going to be growth in the body tissues. So whatever you eat needs to be digested and it needs to be used by the body. So that is going to be because of the thyroid hormone. Second thing is to regulate the BMR, that is basal metabolic rate. Also to increase the metabolic rate, यानी आप जितना ज़्यादा metabolism increase करोगे, that is going to enhance your body growth. And always थायराइड हार्मोन इज गोइंग टू एनहांस हीट प्रोडक्शन, यानी बॉडी का टेम्परेचर बढ़ाने में हेल्प करेगा. सो इट इज़ अ कार्सिनोजेनिक इफेक्ट. Then again, thyroid hormones are going to promote growth of body tissues because it is going to increase the metabolism. BMR सब increase हो रहा है, so growth of body tissues is obvious. It is also going to stimulate differentiation of tissues. Again, that is a part of metabolism and increase in the growth of body. And it is also going to be important on the metamorphosis of tadpoles into adult frogs. So this is a very important point to remember, because this is the thing that is asked in questions कि कौन सा hormone है which is involved in metamorphosis of tadpoles into adult frogs. So it is nothing but the thyroid hormone. So even thyroid hormone is going to be secreted in the tadpoles so that it can convert into adult frogs. Then thyroid hormone is going to be enhancing the effects and actions of neurotransmitters, which are adrenaline and noradrenaline. So adrenaline and noradrenaline are the hormones released from the adrenal gland. So adrenal gland के बारे में भी हम पढ़ेंगे. So during that time we will understand what these hormones do. But these are also neurotransmitters. These are hormones released from adrenal gland. Also they act as neurotransmitters. So उनका भी action बढ़ाने में the thyroid hormone is going to be useful. And then it also maintains the water and electrolyte balance so that excessive water reduced na ho jaye, and even all the things that is required, that is all the levels of electrolytes, it is maintained by it. And also it supports the erythropoiesis. So that means जो RBC production होना है, all that is going to be under the control of thyroid hormone. So one thing you can understand from here is a single hormone is not going to have a single function. एक हार्मोन अलग अलग बॉडी पार्ट्स के ऊपर इफेक्ट करेगा, एंड ऑल दोज इफेक्ट्स आर गोइंग टू बी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम ईच अदर, बट स्टिल दे आर गोइंग टू कॉम्प्लीमेंट ईच अदर. सो एक हार्मोन निकला, एक हार्मोन बस एक ही टारगेट के ऊपर जाके काम किया, इट इज़ नॉट लाइक दैट. इट इज़ गोइंग टू ग्रो एवरीवेयर and impact onto our body. Whereas if you consider the neural signals है कि अगर एक न्यूरल सिग्नल निकला है, वहाँ पे जाके क्या होने वाला है, एक न्यूरल सिग्नल सिर्फ एक ही समझो मसल के ऊपर काम करेगा. सो इन दैट केस इट इज़ नॉट एज हॉर्मोन्स है वो अलग अलग जगहों पे जाके काम करेंगे, बट न्यूरल सिग्नल्स आर गोइंग टू बी ओनली स्पेसिफिक प्लेस लोकेटेड. So that is the major difference that happens in hormones and the neural coordination of our body. Now we see that अगर thyroid hormones normal condition में नहीं है, that means the functions that we just saw, if they are not at regular pace because of low or high amount of thyroid secretion, then what can be the cases? So if there is hypothyroidism है, that means there is deficiency or under secretion of the thyroid hormones, then there can be several results that can come as simple goiter, it can be as cretinism, or it can be as myxedema or the Gall's disease. ये हुआ अगर thyroid secretion कम है या deficient है. The second thing that can happen is the excessive secretion, that is because of some sort of cancer in thyroid gland, या वहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा development है of the nodules, then there can be a increased rate of synthesis and secretion of the hormones. So अगर hormones का secretion बढ़ जाएगा, there is abnormal increase, then what will happen? जो भी functions हो रहे थे because of thyroid gland that we saw, all that will increase. यानी वहाँ पे जो BMR था वो BMR को मेंटेनेंस नहीं कर पाएगा, इट इज़ गोइंग टू इफेक्ट ऑन टू इट. वहाँ पे बॉडी टेम्परेचर रेगुलेशन था, वो रेगुलेशन डिस्टर्ब हो जाएगा. ऑल दैट थिंग्स आर गोइंग टू हैपन इफ द थायराइड हार्मोन्स आर नॉट एट exact levels. If they are less, if they are more, they can result into some adverse effects of the physiology of our body. So now let's understand about the certain diseases that can occur because of the levels going up and down because of thyroid misfunctioning. The first disease about hypothyroidism, hypothyroidism है यानी hormones secrete कम हो रहे हैं, and when there is decreased secretion of hormone, what is the reason that the hormones are secrete less? Secretion less हो रहा है because T3 and T4 are not secreted, they are not made. And why these are not made? Because there is going to be deficiency of iodine. So as I told you, T3 और T4 बनाने के लिए आयोडीन का होना बहुत ज़रूरी है, and if there is no iodine into the person's diet, it will lead to less and less amounts of T3 and T4, and when there is less amounts of T3 and T4, the simple goiter is going to occur. So therefore it is very necessary that iodine should be included into diet, and once there is decrease in iodine intake, there is going to be low secretion of hormones, और जैसे ही low secretion होगा, the condition will be called as hypothyroidism. And hypothyroidism जब होता है, what the body is going to think कि अगर follicular cells, समझो कुछ x number के follicular cells है, and these x number of follicular cells in the normal state are able to produce the amount of hormones, but now they are not able to perform the way they used to. So what the body will think कि इतने cells कम पड़ रहे हैं, let us increase the quantity of the cells, let's make it x plus 1 number of quantity, यानी बहुत ज़्यादा cells का division होगा, and there is going to be enlargement in the thyroid gland. When there is going to be enlargement in thyroid gland, it will be thinking by the body कि अब ये जो रिक्वायरमेंट है वो सफाइस कर पाएगा, उसकी रिक्वायरमेंट पूरी हो जाएगी, and because of that the body is going to take a step of enlargement of the gland. And once there is enlargement of the thyroid gland, it is called as simple goiter. So majorly in the hilly areas wherein there is deficiency of seawater nearby, the people are going to have less iodine content in their meals. So iodine कम हुआ, simple goiter दिखना शुरू हो जाएगा. But nowadays because of availability of packaged salts with iodine in it already present, the simple goiter cases can be prevented in the hilly areas if iodine is being provided. So many a times packed salts जो होते हैं, it is not available to all people. So हो सकता है जिनके पास पैसों की कमी हो, they are not able to have iodine intake, और goiter के cases बढ़ने लगे थे. So even some days back there were campaigns which were giving iodine through the help of bindis. So bindis जो all females are applying onto their face. तो वो जो बिंदी लगाते थे, वो बिंदी के स्टिकर जो रहते थे, वो स्टिकर के पीछे there used to be iodine which was loaded, and behind the stickers these iodine used to get absorbed, and iodine once it was absorbed through that sticker glue, or that say वो absorption की वजह से the iodine intake which was required daily, that was sufficed by the females, and that gave them the daily requirement of iodine, जिससे it was a step ahead so that the simple goiter can be prevented. So that was also a one campaign which was done so that iodine can be provided to each and everyone, and the simple goiter cases can be reduced. The second disease we are going to see is myxedema or Gall's disease. So this is also going to be a disease which is going to be because of deficiency of thyroid hormones, and that is majorly in adults. So myxedema ज़्यादातर adults में होगा, and the patients who are suffering from this disease is going to have puffy appearance. They are going to look like फूगा हुआ balloon जैसे लगेंगे. These are going to look कि उनका पूरा गाल सूजा हुआ है, आंखें अंदर सिंक हो चुकी है because the cheeks have risen. They will lack alertness, उनका intelligence और initiative कम होगा because of the thyroid hormone is going to be reactive so that it can metabolize different kinds of things like protein, carbohydrates, all it can metabolize, और उससे energy आएगी. But अगर thyroid hormone कम है, it is going to impact onto the metabolism rate. So the person will have low metabolic rate, slow heart rate, low body temperature, because thyroid also is going to contribute into body temperature regulation. So it is going to have a calorigenic effect, wherein because of less thyroid hormones the patient will have low body temperature, उसको ठंड ज़्यादा लगेगी, there will be temperature fluctuations, and even their reproductive failure can occur because of low thyroid hormones. So once the disease has been understood, it is diagnosed by the doctor, then what can be done? The person or the patient can be administered by thyroid hormones. So the thyroid hormones externally provide किए जाएंगे majorly in the form of tablets. So once these tablets have been given into form of mgs, so x amount of mg का tablet supply किया जाएगा according to the need of the body, and that majorly occurs in females. So females में thyroid होना बहुत ज़्यादा common है, and majorly cases are seen in females rather than in males. So once the adult female has been understood, the tablets can be provided, and because of tablets जो normal body functioning है that can be altered. So now because of hypothyroidism, it has also been understood that the females can be having irregular menstrual cycles. So all these symptoms can help you to understand and take a step against by meeting the person who is right to understand about the myxedema diseases. So the next is going to be about cretinism, which is going to be because of the failure of the thyroid secretion, and that too not from adulthood or teens, it is going to be from the childhood. So generally जब से बेबी पैदा होता है तब से ही cretinism का the symptoms can be seen. There is going to be slow body growth because metabolism is hampered because of no secretion of thyroid hormone. Mental development नहीं होगा, and it is also going to reduce the metabolic rate. Because of all these things, that is the functions of thyroid hormone will not work. So जो भी functions थे वो नहीं होंगे, then what will be the symptoms of it? The child is going to remain physically stunted, उसकी growth नहीं होगी, tissues differentiate नहीं होंगे, mentally retarded रहेगा, IQ low होगा because intelligence is going to require the neural connections जो नहीं हो पाएंगे. There is going to be abnormal skin म्यूटेशन, वहाँ पे बॉडी टेम्परेचर मेंटेन नहीं हो पाएगा, हार्ट रेट विल बी abnormal, and blood pressure will also be lower than the case of normal people. So the patients who are coming with a complaint of these symptoms will also have characteristic features of cretinism, which is going to be pot belly. So you can see the particular photograph of how the pot belly is going to be. So pot belly, उसका abdominal area बहुत ज़्यादा सूजा हुआ लगेगा. There is going to be pigeon chest, that is all the ribs and everything will be enlarged, they will be higher up, and that is nothing but the pigeon chest. There will be protruding tongue, there is going to be puffy face, pale होगा बच्चा, उसमें ज़्यादा ऐसे hemoglobin वगैरह कम होगा, because thyroid is also going to help in erythrocytosis, that is erythropoiesis, which is going to be production of RBCs. So अगर thyroid hormone कम है, RBCs produce less होंगे, so it is a pale appearance of the patient. There is also going to be chances of neonatal jaundice, lethargy, यानी उसको कुछ भी करने की इच्छा नहीं होगी. There might be respiratory problems, digestive problems like constipation, low blood sugar होगा because there is no metabolism. Proteins, carbohydrates metabolize नहीं होंगे तो sugar कहाँ से आएगी? So all that is going to be happening onto the patient suffering from cretinism, and this is one of the disease that can occur from the mother as well. So hypothyroidism during pregnancy अगर किसी को है या वहाँ पे डिटेक्ट होती है, and if the hormones, that is through the tablets, is not provided to the pregnant female, then in that case it can happen that the defective development and maturation of the growing baby can occur. So during that time, the person, that is the female who is having hypothyroidism during pregnancy or detected during those periods, अगर सही amount of thyroid hormone नहीं जाएगा, then the baby can be born with the cretinism problem, and they can have a lifetime impairment which is going to be physically stunted. They won't look normal. So here you can understand about how this is going to be. This particular female is going to have the enlarged neck, उसकी neck बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ी होगी, that is nothing but a case of simple goiter. So you can understand and differentiate people from the appearance as well. So that is example of simple goiter. But here you can understand the face of this particular lady. How is it going to be? You don't feel that she is normal. आप उसको देख के ही पता कर सकते हो that it is something different, and this is going to be the case of cretinism. Because of low development, low IQ, there are going to be changes in the facial and the external appearance as well, and that can be also understood once you see the photographs and understand the disease and the symptoms regarding it. Next we come to the disease that is called as exophthalmic goiter or Graves disease, which is going to be a autoimmune disorder, यानी बॉडी के सेल्स के ऊपर ही बॉडी के इम्यून सिस्टम एक्ट करे, and that is going to destroy that particular body organ or body tissue. So हो सकता है ये बॉडी सेल है और ये बॉडी सेल को बॉडी की इम्यूनिटी ने बता दिया कि नाउ इट इज़ नॉट बिलोंगिंग टू आर टेरिटरी. हो सकता है कि द एंटीबॉडीज आर गोइंग टू बी रिलीज्ड अगेंस्ट इट, एंड वंस द एंटीबॉडीज आर रिलीज्ड, दिस बॉडी सेल जिसके खिलाफ एंटीबॉडीज निकली थी पूरा का पूरा डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाएगा, एंड दैट इज़ द सेम थिंग दैट हैपन्स इन ग्रेव्स डिसीज. The antibodies are going to be produced that are mimicking the action of TSH. So antibodies काम करेगी as TSH, and once there is going to be the action of TSH, there is going to be a set of negative feedback control. So I had explained to you about the negative feedback control once we were understanding about hypothalamus. So जब T3 और T4 की saturation आ जाती है, once T3 and T4 are at a saturation, these are going to act as a negative feedback so that TSH can be stopped as regulating. So T3 T4 saturate हो गए, TSH का प्रोडक्शन बंद हो गया, and as soon as TSH का प्रोडक्शन बंद हो जाएगा, what is going to happen? There is going to be stoppage of formation of T3 and T4. That is going to happen. So TSH अगर रिलीज नहीं होगा, then what is going to happen? TSH release नहीं होगा, T3 and T4 are not secreted. So because of that, T3 and T4 once they are not secreted, there is going to be thyroid enlargement because body की जो need है वो complete नहीं हो पा रही है, and that thyroid enlargement is also going to be accompanied by the enlargement of bulging of eyeballs, and you can see here in the photograph as well how the eyeballs are going to be bulged. The thyroid is going to be overactive, and once it is overactive, it is going to secrete excessive amount of thyroid hormones, क्योंकि अब जब वो enlarge हो गया है, T3 और T4 बहुत ज़्यादा quantities में आ रहे हैं, and this excess amount of thyroid hormone is going to cause trouble. Once there is excess amount of thyroid hormone, जो भी functions regular होने चाहिए थे वो उससे ज़्यादा speed में होंगे. So there is going to be over activity, person बहुत ज़्यादा active रहेगा, उसकी high metabolic rate होगी, there is going to be rapid heartbeat. Normally जो 72 के आसपास बोली जाती है वो उसके always 72 के ऊपर ही रहेगी, वो नीचे नहीं आएगी. Body temperature will be rising always. There is going to be nervousness, हमेशा डर लगा रहेगा, irritability होगी, tremors आ सकते हैं, restlessness होगी, because at one place the person will not be feeling normal. There is going to be a word that is called as emaciation, which means there is going to be extreme thinning of body. बॉडी बहुत ज़्यादा थिन हो जाएगी because there is going to be extreme metabolism, because thyroid hormones बहुत ज़्यादा लेवल में इंक्रीज होंगे because of enlargement of the gland. So extreme thinning, क्योंकि सारा का सारा protein content, the carbohydrate protein, the fat content, everything is going to be metabolized because of excessive secretion of the hormones. Then there is a word that is tremors. So tremors is nothing but the shaking movement, जो झटके लगने जैसा होता है ना, शॉक लगने के बाद कैसे झटके आते हैं, that shaking movements are nothing but of tremors. So these tremors are also थर थर कांपने जैसा लगने के जो symptoms होंगे, all these can also be because of the Graves disease. And Graves disease, as the case of we saw in the goiter as well, all those are majorly seen in the females rather than in males. The next gland we are going to understand is a parathyroid gland. Parathyroid gland is very near to thyroid gland. So parathyroid gland होता कैसा है? It is going to be a small oval shaped yellow colored organ, and it is going to be compactly solid vascular mass of cells. और इसकी लोकेशन क्या होगी? It is going to be at the back side of the thyroid gland. तो सामने से जब आप thyroid gland को देखोगे, you will not be able to see the parathyroid hormone. But once you see the ventral surface, पीछे की साइड से देखोगे, you can see 4 dots. So here you can also understand through the photograph, there are going to be 4 yellow dots. These 4 yellow dots are nothing but going to be your parathyroid gland. So these parathyroid glands are going to be functionally as well as developmentally independent from the thyroid gland. तो ऐसा कोई बात नहीं है कि लाइक थायराइड ग्लैंड के पीछे ही है. सो थायराइड ग्लैंड एंड पैराथायराइड दे आर डेवलप्ड टुगेदर फ्रॉम वन सिंगल टिश्यू. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. दीज आर टोटली इंडिपेंडेंट ग्लैंड्स. दे डोंट हैव एनी रिलेशन टू ईच अदर ऑन देयर फंक्शन और ऑन इट्स डेवलपमेंट. So parathyroid gland is going to have 2 cells in it. The first type of cells is called as small chief cells. So small because the size of these cells are going to be smaller in. The large oxyphil cells, which you can see in the slides, उनका difference पता चल सकता है. So ones which are darkly stained. Ones which are darkly stained, over here in the photograph also you can understand, the darkly stained smaller cells are the chief cells, whereas the lightly stained larger ones will be the oxyphil cells. Now we see about the hormone that is released by the parathyroid gland. Parathyroid gland से hormone निकलेगा which is called as parathormone, and parathormone is going to be helping in regulation of calcium ions in the blood. So regulation करना है यानी there is going to be function of increase and decrease. So parathormone के opposite काम करने के लिए भी एक hormone होगा, and that hormone we have seen in the thyroid gland. So opposite काम करने वाला कौन है? It is released by the C cells of the thyroid gland, and that hormone is nothing but calcitonin. So this calcitonin hormone is going to act opposite to that of parathormone. So calcitonin जो है वो blood calcium levels को कम करेगा, whereas the parathormone is going to function opposite to it. So the blood calcium levels, very important to level, that is blood calcium levels are going to be increased by the parathormone. So वहाँ पे regulation हो जाएगा कि एक कम करेगा एक बढ़ाएगा. So the body can be under homeostasis. So once there is going to be signals received that there are low calcium levels कम होगा in the blood, the PTH, that is parathormone, is going to be released, and there is going to be increase in the blood calcium levels so that it comes to a normal state. Because अगर वो parathormone बार बार कैल्शियम लाते जाएगा इनटू ब्लड लाते जाएगा, तब जब कैल्शियम लेवल्स ब्लड के बढ़ जाएंगे तब क्या होगा? calcitonin will be activated to release calcitonin, and the calcium levels will be decreased. So कम होते जाएगा, that will stimulate the parathormone. So that way the calcitonin and parathormone are going to be regulating the entire calcium levels in the blood. Now how is the parathormone going to increase the calcium levels? So अचानक से अपने पोटली में से कैल्शियम निकाल के नहीं दे सकता है. So ये कैल्शियम कहाँ से लाएगा? Calcium will come from the reservoir of calciums that are found in our bodies, and these are nothing but the bones and other skeletal structures. So these bones are made up of calcium and phosphorus and other minerals. So वहाँ पे bone में से the bone will be dissolved because of the parathormone, and that is nothing but called as bone resorption or bone dissolution or demineralization. So there are going to be osteoclasts. So osteoclasts are going to be the cell which are going to do this particular function, and once these osteoclasts start eating bone, these are going to release calcium, और ये calcium जो bone में से आएगा उसको blood में supply किया जाएगा so that the blood calcium levels can reach the optimum levels. So there are going to be reabsorption of calcium even from the renal tubules, यानी urine के से जो कैल्शियम निकलने वाला था उसको भी रीअब्सॉर्ब कर लिया जाएगा. इवन द कैल्शियम दैट यू इनटेक थ्रू मिल्क और थ्रू पनीर or even some other calcium sources like spinach, from all that things that you eat which are rich in calcium, वहाँ से भी absorb हो जाएगा, and that all will be entering into the blood so that the calcium levels can be maintained. Even parathormone is called as a hypercalcemic hormone because why hypercalcemic? Hyper means ज़्यादा और calcemic is regarding the calcium ions. So calcium ions को blood में बढ़ाने वाला है, so it is also called as a hypercalcemic hormone. दिस कैल्शियम इज़ वाई वी आर स्पीकिंग कि इतनी बार कैल्शियम की बात हो गई कि कैल्शियम को ब्लड में नॉर्मल स्थिति में रहना ज़रूरी है. वाई? बिकॉज कैल्शियम इज़ असेंशियल फॉर प्रॉपर फंक्शनिंग ऑफ मसल्स. वाई मसल्स? बिकॉज मसल्स में देयर इज़ गोइंग टू बी नीड फॉर कॉन्ट्रैक्शन. Contraction होने के लिए calcium is going to be very much necessary. Even in heart there are muscles, cardiac muscles, heart needs to contract, that is to pump blood, so it needs calcium. Is going to be necessary in nerve for impulse transmission. For growth of bones calcium is necessary so that long bones can develop. Long bones अगर develop नहीं होंगे height will be stunted. Teeth to remain strong you will need calcium ions, and clotting of blood you are also going to need calcium. So all this are the functions of calcium जिसकी वजह से parathormone and calcitonin needs to be coming into normal flow so that there are no imbalances in the calcium levels in our blood. And since there are no deficiencies of calcium in blood, all these functions can normally function. इसमें से कुछ भी कमी हो जाती है, there can be symptoms that can affect onto these as well. So here you can see a very beautiful flow chart that will help you to understand कि calcium levels अगर बढ़ जाती है, what is going to happen? There is going to be imbalance, and because of calcium levels increased in the blood levels, thyroid gland is going to be stimulated, majorly the C cells or the parafollicular cells releasing PTH. क्या होगा? पीटीएच का सिक्रीशन कम कर दिया जाएगा, और जैसे ही पीटीएच का सिक्रीशन कम हो जाएगा देयर इज गोइंग टू बी बोन कैल्शियम डिपोजिशन. यहाँ पे पीटीएच कम होगा और वहाँ पे कौन इंक्रीज हो जाएगा? कैल्सिटोनिन इज गोइंग टू इंक्रीज इन इट्स कॉन्सेंट्रेशन, and as soon as calcitonin increases pTH decreases, the blood calcium is going to be deposited into the bone so that bone can be formed. अब बोन ज़्यादा फॉर्म होने लगा, बोन का ग्रोथ डेवलपमेंट सब हो गया, still the calcium is going into the bone. What will happen? Again there is going to be imbalance. Now in this time calcium levels कम हो जाएंगे. It will stimulate the parathyroid gland to increase the secretion of PTH, and when there is increase of PTH calcitonin is going to be reduced. So calcitonin reduce हो गया, PTH secretion बढ़ गया, the osteoclast, the bone eating cells will be starting their function, and again the homeostasis of normal blood calcium level will be achieved. So ये बार बार cycle चलते रहेगा so that finally your body can remain in homeostasis. So it is very important to understand that body is not at static. Your body is not static, it is dynamic, because ये जो चीज़ें हैं ये एक बार नहीं हो रही है, ये बार बार हो रही है, and because of that it is not static, it is dynamic. So this dynamics is nothing but occurs in all body systems so that your body is going to remain in homeostasis. और ये सब करने के लिए भी ATP लगता है, that is energy is going to be utilized. Now we are going to understand about the imbalance that can occur between the secretion of parathormone. So कम secretion होने पे क्या होगा, ज़्यादा secretion होने पे क्या होगा, all that we are going to discuss over here. So first case we see when the parathormone secretion is low. So what can we understand? पैराथॉर्मोन का सिक्रीशन कम हो रहा है, बट कम होने पे क्या होगा उसके लिए we should understand what is the normal condition. So normal अगर state है of a person, normal state में what is going to be the role of parathormone? Parathormone is going to regulate so that the blood calcium level can be coming to its normal state by increasing it. राइट। कैल्शियम लेवल्स कम है, कैल्शियम लेवल्स ब्लड में बढ़ाने का काम किसका है? पैराथॉर्मोन का है। बट इफ द पैराथॉर्मोन सिक्रीशन इज लो, what will happen? Blood calcium levels will not be coming to their normal position, and because of parathormone in less secretion, who will be more active? More active is going to be your calcitonin. So calcitonin जब ज़्यादा active होगा, what will happen? There is going to be blood calcium levels which will decrease. So this is the thing that you need to understand about the lowered secretion of parathormone. So now the calcium levels will fall abnormally in the plasma, यानी blood में calcium levels की कमी हो जाएगी. And why this is going to happen? Because there might be some accidental damage to the parathyroid gland, or there might be blood supply that is damaged because of thyroidectomy surgery. So thyroidectomy surgery is nothing but removal of thyroid gland. So because of some reasons the thyroid gland निकालना पड़ा. If there was cancer of thyroid gland as we saw in the Graves disease, so उसको बचाने के लिए अगर thyroid gland निकाला गया, and because of some mishap during the surgery, if the blood supply to parathyroid gland अगर disturb हो जाता है, then this condition can occur, that is parathyroid tetany, wherein the hormonal level will be reduced. And what will happen to the patient? अगर ये हो जाता है, there is going to be chances that the person will have increased excitability of the nerves, because nerves को जो signal देता है that you have to stimulate, that is going to be because of calcium levels. So since the calcium levels are lowered because of lower hormones, the excitability will be increasing. There will be muscles which are going to be having abnormal contractions. Abnormal contractions जो होंगे, they will be called as tetany. टिटनी दैट मीन्स वो जो स्पैजम्स होंगे वो अचानक से कॉन्ट्रैक्शंस होना इन द केस ऑफ लैरिंग्स, ऑफ द फेस मसल्स, हैंड मसल्स, फीट मसल्स, सारे के सारे मसल्स अलग अलग तरीके से कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करेंगे, एंड दे विल स्टे इन द कॉन्ट्रैक्टेड स्टेट बिकॉज ऑफ लो कैल्शियम लेवल्स एंड एवरीथिंग. सो उनके जो बॉडी कंडीशंस होंगे वो अलग नज़र आएंगे. यू कैन सी इन द फोटोग्राफ्स एज वेल. Their feet condition, their hands, the fingers position, all will be changed because of the lowered hormone condition coming from the parathyroid tetany. The next we see is about parathyroidism. Hyperparathyroidism, hyper means increased, and parathyroidism is referring to the hormone that is released. So because of parathyroid tumors, so tumors जब होंगे, there is going to be enlargement of the gland, यानी cells increase होंगे of the gland, there is going to be excessive amount of hormone released. Now normal condition में again we come to the state, that is if there is normal state of PTH release, what is going to be the case? The case is going to be blood calcium levels will be increased. This is the normal function of PTH. But अभी ये PTH का release इतना बढ़ गया है that what will happen? Blood calcium levels increase significantly. वो जो एक डंडे तक बढ़ने चाहिए थे वो बढ़ते ही जा रहे and they are unstoppable. Now during this time what will happen? ये जो blood calcium level बढ़ाना है वो कहाँ से बढ़ा रहा है? Backstage क्या हो रहा है? There is going to be demineralization of bones. Once there is demineralization of bones, what is happening? There are osteoclasts which are functioning at a very faster rate. जो demineralization हो रहा है, सारा का सारा bone destroy हो रहा है, and everything is going to be coming from that place. There is going to be softening of bones, there is going to be increase in blood calcium levels. जो deposition ये सारा जो इंक्रीज हुआ है ब्लड में वो सब कहाँ जाएगा? वो सब जाएगा इनटू किडनीज, और किडनीज में जब वो ग्लोमेरुलस में से once the kidney is going to filter out everything, during that time what will be happening? वो सारा का सारा कैल्शियम वहाँ पे accumulate हो जाएगा, and once the calcium is going to accumulate into those areas, वो जो जाली है, वो जो ग्लोमेरुलस है, वो सारा का सारा वहाँ पे अटक जाएगा. जैसे चाय को आप छलनी में से डालते हो, चाय पत्ती फंस जाती है, वैसे दैट excessive calcium is going to get deposited onto that filtration mess, and that is going to cause kidney damage as well. So hyperparathyroidism से how the kidney can be damaged, how the other soft tissues, हो सकता है soft tissues like heart में अगर deposition हो जाएगा calcium का, what will happen, the heart will not be able to pump itself. Other soft tissues, lungs में होगा, lungs expand नहीं हो पाएंगे. There can be many complications if the blood calcium level increases. And again इंक्रीज हो रहा है, दैट इज कमिंग फ्रॉम द बोन्स सॉफ्ट हो जाएंगे, इंसान गिर जाता है, बहुत जल्दी फ्रैक्चर हो जाएगा, बिकॉज बोन्स डू नॉट हैव दैट मच अमाउंट ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ बिकॉज ऑफ लो कैल्शियम्स इन देम. So all that can happen because of hyperparathyroidism. The next we see is about hypercalcemia. Hypercalcemia, hyper is increase and calcemia is regarding the ions of calcium. So this is also going to be a cause, that is osteosis, fibrosis, cystica. During this time, the bone substances will be replaced by cavities, because whatever was filled into the bones, जो कैल्शियम था, फॉस्फोरस था, वो सारा का सारा कौन ले जाएगा, पैराथ हार्मोन ले जाएगा to release it into the blood or the plasma. So that is going to create pores into the bone, and these pores are going to lead to osteoporosis. So osteoporosis हो सकता है, that is going to have deformities in bone, बहुत जल्दी fractures हो जाएंगे, bone soft हो जाएगा, and all that the increased amount of calcium ions is going to get deposited, because बार बार calcium levels को plasma लेके नहीं घूम सकता है, sometime or the other there is going to be deposition, there is going to be settlement of these ions, and they can go and settle into gallbladder. So gallbladder में जो gallstones बोलते हैं, so there can be chances of gallstones if these calcium levels goes and settles into kidneys. So kidney में क्या हो जाएगा, kidney stone हो जाएगा. So you have heard about kidney stones. So kidney stones can occur, gallstones can occur, and all this can impact onto the person's normal life. So it is very important to understand that how these hormones are going to be causing you different kinds of diseases जो आप सोच नहीं सकते हो, that can be because of just the abnormal secretion of hormones. So fracture बहुत जल्दी होना, या all those things can be because of low calcium level. So ऐसी बात नहीं है कि आप calcium कम खा रहे हो सकता है that your hormones are not working properly, and because of that whatever you are intaking is not being correctly utilized by your body. So this is also one perspective that can occur, that even if you are having good diet, there can be chances that abnormality in your endocrine system can give you different kinds of diseases. So that was all about thyroid and the parathyroid gland. If you liked it, if you understood the concepts with the different kinds of flowchart and diagrams, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our amazing channel. Many more glands to come through these chapters. I'm sure that with those videos as well, you will be helpful to understand it much more better. अगर आपको ये वाला अच्छा लगा है तो then surely do comment into the section, and that would be helping us to meet back again in the next video. Till the time we meet soon, bye bye everyone, thank you.